Yo, welcome to another MMA grind. Schizo Jits here. We're talking the UFC 314 prediction show for as far as basically the last four fights of the card. It's going to be live in Miami this Saturday. It's a banger card from top to bottom. I'm just going to talk from Bryce Mitchell, the Jew hunter, against John Silva, basically Dana White's personal assassin to take out Bryce Mitchell. Like, Bryce Mitchell has been getting a lot of hate ever since he said he wanted to go fishing with Hitler, and his very first podcast came out with some crazy stuff, saying a lot of crazy stuff that got him in a lot of trouble, a lot of heat with the media anyway, but this is basically like a spiritual, religious battle, if you will, with Bryce Mitchell, going as far as saying that, John Silva's a demon, and, he's been seeing demons in his dreams and doing a lot. He's going all in for sure with the spirituality and the religious take, being a Christian, a good Christian that he is. And he's entertaining, man. Like I'm definitely, this is a fight right here. This could be one of the most entertaining fights for sure. Like this fight right here, it's kind of like a lot of these fights are 50-50 on the main card. This is kind of one of them because John Silva still is a little unproven, especially on the ground. And that's where Bryce Mitchell thrives. So John Silva, obviously he has some power, coming from the MMA nerds camp. Like, all those guys have been super hyped up. I think they've only lost one or might be undefeated as a whole, as a team. They've been just smashing everybody. And John Silva, he got a crazy finish last time, cried on the octagon, getting all emotional. Press conference, they had heat last press conference. Bryce Mitchell and John, Bryce Mitchell, he said he's an open advocate of like flat earth and stuff like that. So John Silva was definitely trolling him. He had a globe model earth and was just trying to really get a raise out of Bryce Mitchell, and you could tell it, that it was there, for sure. There was a lot of heat there. Bryce Mitchell coming in at 5'10", so he will have a considerable size advantage. Not so much on the reach, just a 1-inch reach advantage, 70 to 69, but 5'10" to 5'7" for Silva. Like I said, Silva's been on a tear. He's a little stockier, compact, explosive type power. Bryce Mitchell's kind of more of a rounded guy, good everywhere. He gave a good show. He did a good fight against Ilia Topuria. He had a good showing. Like, everyone just thought Topuria, because he's been kind of wrecking everyone, and he still, at the end of the day, he still manhandled Bryce Mitchell on the ground. But Bryce Mitchell was the only guy to be able to get a takedown on Topuria thus far in his UFC career, and held him down for about 30 seconds to a minute. But, so, I mean, that's a little, and he was doing okay on the feet, actually, until he got rocked. So Bryce Mitchell is pretty well-rounded. He's one of the only three people in the UFC fighters that has a twister submission. So that just kind of shows the levels of his game, his diverse game, that he's pretty much dangerous anywhere. And that's what I think is going to happen in this fight. I think John Silva obviously is going to come out guns blazing. He's going to have to make up some of that distance, a little bit smaller of a fighter. Bryce Mitchell does kind of stay on the outside and calculate, and he has really good entries for his takedowns. So that's the one thing I think a lot of people underestimate Bryce Mitchell, and they're almost shitting on Ilia just because Bryce Mitchell took you down. Well, Bryce Mitchell is a pretty elite grappler. I mean, he is pretty high level. He has really effortless transitions, from his takedowns, like, some nice judo takedowns, some trips on the fence, but just his transitions on the ground. I mean, he's not like, constantly going for submissions, but he looks laser focused for this fight. And because he is looking at this as like a spiritual all in, fight of like Christian, they're both Christians, but he's seeing the devil on the other side of the cage, and he wants to make a statement on this fight. And like I said, you could tell he was really bothered at that press conference. You don't really see Bryce Mitchell out of character too much, but he was super, he was ready to go there, so I mean, at that time, that was like a month ago. So I'm thinking that this fight is we're going to see the most focused Bryce Mitchell, and with all the heat he's taken in the last month, he has something to prove, not only to himself, but to the UFC, Dana White, everyone calling him stupid, do all this stuff. So like him or not, agree with his takes or not, the guy can fight. He's really well-rounded. And he has kind of proven he's had a better, he's got knocked out. He got knocked dead, convulsing against Josh Emmett with basically the freaking right hand from hell, that to put him out. I was there live for that one. And that was crazy. That was one of the most vicious and scariest, nastiest knockouts you'll ever see. But he recovered from that. He's got victories since then. And I just feel like he's gonna. I mean, I think he's gonna. He can't take a punch, just because Emmett is one of the hardest hitters the UFC's ever seen, especially at that division. So it's like that's no shame in that. He got caught, but I don't. I mean, definitely Silva has that kind of power, but I don't think he's gonna land that huge shot. It's not like he's got that one touch of death, Ilya Taporia, Alex Bahia type power. Like he would have to land more than just one shot, I think, to put away Bryce Mitchell. And I think Bryce Mitchell will be able to take that shot, be able to get it to the ground, and we might see John Silva fade, after the first round and a half. If first round and a half you don't get that finish on Bryce Mitchell, I could see Bryce Mitchell either winning a decision or basically just, taking John Silva down and basically just drowning him or getting, a submission or a TKO. I don't see a TKO too much on the ground. He has pretty decent ground and pound, but he's going usually more for submissions. And I don't know. I see Bryce Mitchell finishing this fight. I'm thinking late second round, maybe early third or mid third. Like I'm thinking a submission. I think he's going to control John Silva. I think he'll get him down. I think there'll be some dangerous moments on the feet. Silva's a beast. Like I said, that whole team is explosive, crazy knockout power. And really, like just switch it up a lot and do a lot of crazy, stuff that's showboaty, I guess you want to say. But I think that Bryce Mitchell is definitely gonna get the job done. And the Jew hunter, the Jew killer, or whatever you want to call it, the assassin. I think Bryce Mitchell is definitely gonna win this one for the Lord and for himself. And that's my prediction for that fight. And then the next fight is Yair Rodriguez against Patricio Pitbull. That's his name. Yeah, so we got Yair Rodriguez against Patricio Pitbull. It's been a long time coming, maybe a little too long as far as Patricio Pitbull. Like, he has a crazy, insane record. I mean, 36-7. That's how much experience he has. Patricio Pitbull, a lot of people don't know, he's from Bellator. He has a knockout win over Michael Chandler, a bunch of other guys, but not the most decorated names, obviously. AJ McKee, a bunch of people, but they're all Bellator fighters. So if you're only a UFC fan or casual MMA fan, you're probably not going to know Patricio Pitbull, but he definitely has some serious power in his hands. This is a little bit later in the game for him. I believe he's 37 years old or so. I mean, he's a lot shorter. He's like 5'6" compared to 5'11" for Yair. Yair is one of the taller guys in the division in featherweight, and a 71-inch reach against 65. So he's definitely going to have to make up some ground against Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez, we all know, is very dangerous throughout the fight. As long as he's in there, as long as he's breathing, he's dangerous. Wherever the ground, we've seen him get beat by a couple of good guys, Brian Ortega, Volkanovski. There's some guys that beat him on the ground, but on the feet, man, he makes you pay. He made Max Holloway a wrestler in their fight. They went to war. So it's like Yair Rodriguez is constantly piecing up people because he's such a diverse and unpredictable striker. And Patricio Pitbull is more of a calculated guy looking for his shot, a counter puncher. And I just think he's not going to be able to let Yair just dictate the pace. Otherwise, he could be in some serious trouble there. And if he's just looking to counter, because he's going to have that range to make up. Yeah, he does have devastating knockout power, but let's not forget Yair Rodriguez has a great chin. I haven't really seen him rock too much. Like, he does have a granite chin. His kryptonite pretty much has been on the ground, getting taken down and ground and pounded or beaten up on the ground. But I don't see Pitbull doing that. But one thing for sure, like Pitbull, there's only a 3-rounder, but Pitbull has 5-round championship experience. He's been to 9 5-round decisions in Bellator. And I mean, that's not even saying all the championship fights. I mean, he's been scheduled for 5 rounds because he's been a champ off and on. I think I might have been a double champ at one point because he has that type of power. He can knock people out. And I mean, it's been a long time coming. Like, it would have been nice if he'd have got in here a few years back. I mean, it might be a little too late, coming in at this juncture of his career, going to the twilight of it. Like, if it had been a few years back, I'd probably be leaning more towards Patricio Pitbull, but just the level of competition that Yair's been facing lately has all been top-notch guys, and he's been hanging with all of them. Yeah, he lost to Brian Ortega. There's no shame in losing to Brian Ortega in a grappling exchange. I mean, Ortega, yeah, he hasn't looked the best of late, hasn't been the most active because of injuries, but if you go back to his earliest career, he was a sniper on the ground. He was just he was tapping everybody. So he started off like 12-0, I believe, and he was getting so many submissions and just killing everybody. He just fell in love with his hands. He's not getting his takedowns as much, but I'm saying there's no shame in losing to Brian Ortega on the ground. I mean, the guy's freaking legendary grappling, Hennon Gracie's freaking protege. So I'm thinking Yair is going to win this one. I think he might get the finish. I'm thinking it's going to be a second or third round. Patricio is tough. Obviously, that's all his fights are like wars, barn burner type fights where he likes to stay in the pocket, like I said, and pick his shots and land some big ones. And he definitely could do that. I just don't see him putting away Yair, and I can't see him winning a decision on Yair because Yair is super busy. He's constantly touching you up. He's throwing. He pieces people up. That's the thing. It's really hard to maintain that level of just work rate, that Yair does. Yair is like putting on a show the whole time he's out there. So it's like, I'm leaning Yair. If it goes the decision, I think Yair wins the decision just because of the activity, and he's going to be way more. He's going to be throwing a lot more shots. His jabs, his kicks are so dynamic, and that's another thing with the reach. Like the leg reach. We're talking. He has another 3.5-inch leg reach advantage as well as a 6-inch, almost a 6-inch arm advantage. So, and like I say, he's really quick with his kicks. You can never know what's coming. And yeah, I got to lean Yair on that one all day. Either by a decision because Patricio is tough and not that easy to put away, or I'm thinking just a straight up, this is going to be a barn burner fight until someone gets dropped, and I can see Yair just finishing him on the feet. He has good boxing himself. Yeah, like I said, he has that great chin. I don't think one punch is going to put him out. So it might be a spoil to Patricio's UFC debut. I mean, I'm rooting for the guy, but I also like Yair. So, but I think I would like to see Yair. I think Yair's got this one. I just think he's going to piece him up. He's going to be too busy for him, land too many big shots, and his granite chin is just going to hold up. And I don't think there's anything Pitbull can do about that. That'll bring us to the co-main event, Michael Chandler against Patty the Batty Pimblett. Not Patty the Fatty anymore. This guy's staying in shape all year round. So, I mean, we got Michael Chandler, who's basically been a 500 fighter since the UFC, but every single fight has been exciting. Like, he's must-watch TV. You cannot miss a Michael Chandler fight. That guy comes and he brings it every single time, no matter what. Like, and everyone wants to talk about his cardio because he comes out guns blazing, but in the 5th round of his last fight against Charles Oliveira, yes, he lost that fight, but he picks him up and slams him twice. Or, Charles on his back, he jumps up and does the jump slam and plays to the crowd, and he's swinging for the fences and almost finished Charles in that fight. That 5th round, he almost got it done. He did get dominated in that fight, his wrestling, but also I feel like Charles Oliveira is way more dangerous on the feet than, say, like a Patty. Like, as far as his striking, his Muay Thai, he kept a high guard. He stayed way more composed and used more fight IQ in that fight Charles Oliveira did. Because usually, Charles Oliveira comes out guns blazing from the start. He walks you down. He comes straight forward. He's throwing bombs. He's trying to end the fight at all costs from the start. And I think that's what got him in a lot of trouble. He gets rocked in pretty much every fight he's in because he just chin up, throwing bombs. Like, he's just more, his defense is offense. So it's like he's just coming out swinging and throwing a lot of diverse techniques, kicks, knees. He's throwing his hands and he hits hard. So it's like he definitely isn't always in a firefight, Charles Oliveira. So it's kind of like you can't fault. He fought smart in that fight. He fought the fight he had to do to beat Michael Chandler. Because if that was just a straight up, blow for blow, let's center of the octagon, center of the cage, point at the ground and just, stand your ground and throw bombs, from the, like, I think Michael Chandler that makes it a better fight for Chandler to win. That gives him more opportunities to win. So, it was just a different, you can't really fault Chandler, but the one thing is he's getting older. He has been in a lot of wars, and he was saying that he wasn't able to pull the trigger so much against Charles Oliveira. So it's kind of like, is he reaching that where he's going to start getting gun shy and trying to play it too safe or fight to, like, not to lose rather than win, or just whatever. Like, is he getting to that point of his career? He is fighting down. Patty's ranked a little lower than him in this fight, but Patty's coming off a lot of wins in a row. He beat Ferguson. He's beat Bobby Green. tapped him or in the first round, put him to sleep, I believe, his last fight. King Green, excuse me. But yeah, definitely Patty's a big lightweight, 5'10", 5'8" for Chandler, but Chandler's just a meatball. He's a wrecking ball in there. He comes guns blazing. Like I said, he's must-see TV. You can never miss a Michael Chandler fight. Some people call him Chandler because he is susceptible to getting hurt a lot in his fights as well because he is going balls to the wall from the start. He has been hurt and rocked in a lot of fights, but his ability to recover has been pretty impressive. Like, he hasn't been finished a whole lot, so he has been finished, but, he is usually there at the end still swinging, so it's like, and he's always dangerous. And I think Patty is going to have the advantage on the ground if it hits it there, if it goes there. And wrestling wise, I could see, like, obviously Michael Chandler is a Division I wrestler. This is MMA. There's the cage involved. MMA grappling is a lot different. Patty might have the advantage there as far as submission game. He's probably a little better there, younger, hungrier, all that. But is he gonna be able to get it there? Like, yes, Charles Oliveira was able to take down Chandler like at will basically in their fight, but he has that threat of the stand-up game where you have to worry about that stand-up, and Charles Oliveira doesn't really show that he's a wrestler and trying to get takedowns that much. It's kind of like he's dangerous everywhere, but he's usually not trying to push that issue or that pace. And Chandler, an insane pace. I don't know if this is a 3-rounder or a 5-rounder, but I think it might be a 5. But this is going to be barn burning of a fight. This was a really 50-50 fight for me to pick because we don't know what Chandler's going to show up. Did he hit that wall finally where he was getting too old, to pull the trigger or whatever? Is he going to play it too safe? If we got the guns blazing, I don't give a shit. Michael Chandler, yes, he could get rocked, but I think he could also catch Paddy Pimblett because I don't think Paddy's hands and his stand-up game is that good, like to compete at this high level. Like, I think he has to rely more on his grappling. I think if it does go on the ground, Paddy will have the definite advantage there. And I was actually leaning Paddy like this whole time, that he's going to be able to beat Michael Chandler. And I'm still, man, this pains me because I'm a Michael Chandler fan. How can you not be, guys? It's always exciting, but I think I am leading Paddy by some type of either a TKO or a submission later rounds, if not early. But I do feel like Chandler might be able to crack Paddy, but I think he does blow his wad a lot if he doesn't get the finish, if he gets tired, and Paddy could catch him, and he has been a little chinny. If he could just drop Chandler, I could picture him jumping on his neck, jumping on his back, and he's a big, strong, lightweight. I don't know. I'm just leaning Paddy in this fight. A lot of people are leaning Paddy. This is I'm rooting for Chandler. I want Chandler to win this fight. Like, I want to see him get some spectacular finish, put himself right back into the title contention. But I'm just kind of thinking Paddy's going to get it done. He hasn't, like I said, he basically lost to Jared Gordon. Everybody knows that. He hasn't looked the most impressive, but he is getting better, and his level of competition is getting tougher each time. No one was expecting him to tap Bobby Green, especially that quick. Bobby Green kind of just put himself in danger when he dove for that. I think his defense, he kind of dove for a leg, for a takedown, and ended up in a triangle. So, this is a tough fight. It's another 50-50. A lot of these fights on the main card are 50-50. But I'm leaning Paddy Pimblett to get it done. I'm thinking a submission or a TKO. I'm thinking it's going to be earlier, though, like second roundish, because there's opportunities there with Chandler. The first round is going to be crazy. Michael Chandler is one of the best first-round fighters we've ever seen. He's like a smaller Vitor Belfort. You know what I mean? So if Paddy could get past that first round, then, yeah, I'm leading him. But that first round, I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Chandler, whatever you want to say, if he doesn't just sleep Paddy or crack him, and finish him in the first round, TKO. I can see that too. So, that's another possibility in this fight. Okay, that'll bring us to the main event of the evening, and that is Alexander Volkanovski, the Volkster, against the young up-and-coming hungry fighter Diego Lopes, who's on a pretty good streak right now. He's been winning a lot in a row. And obviously Volkanovski, he's coming off 2 straight knockout losses, first against Islam Makhachev, and then in a kind of a quick turnaround, 3-4 months, gets knocked out by Ilia Topuria, but he's had a long time since then. Like, he hasn't fought since last year. So, he's had a lot of time to just recoup and get better. We got a young guy, Diego Lopes, who just beat Brian Ortega. That's his biggest win to date. he's a very dangerous fighter. First round is going to be guns blazing. This is kind of like it could be a passing of the guard, old school, new school. You know, Volkanovski's at 35, 36 years old now. No one in the lower weight divisions that ever won a title past 35. So he's looking to pass that. He's looking to regain his title and just stall that whole new breed of, you know, the division or the up and coming fighters, you know, just kind of halt that and put, you know, I don't want to say fraud check Diego Lopes. I don't think it would be a fraud check. He's proven that he is pretty good and he's pretty elite. But I just think the first round is going to be the most dangerous for Volk because Diego Lopes just kind of fight like a whirlwind, guns blazing, comes out to finish the fight. And he's going to be dangerous the whole time this fight is anytime they're standing. On the grappling side, I think Diego Lopes is definitely a better jiu-jitsu guy, but I also see Volk. He's a very good, well-balanced grappler as far as takedown defense, as far as getting takedowns himself, ground and pound. So I kind of see that canceling each other out. I think this will must be a stand-up fight. So really, this fight comes down to can Lopes catch Volkanovski on the chin and knock him out, which obviously that could happen for sure. That could happen. But I think Volk with his fight IQ, he knows this guy's dangerous. He knows Lopes can put his lights out. He knows the range he needs to be at. He's fought great strikers before, and he's going to game plan. And with his fight IQ, he's going to be able to nullify what Lopes is trying to do early and just get past that. Because we've seen Diego Lopes kind of fall off after the first round. Like he had Brian Ortega in all kinds of trouble. I thought it was over. I think the TV froze and I was like, oh shit, he lost. Because I was going for Ortega, but I was like, it's over, whatever. And then I walked back out and all of a sudden there's like, wait, they're back on. And like, they ended up going the distance. So that just shows, obviously, Brian Ortega is tough as hell, too, to finish, or just tough, period, has a great chin. But Lopes kind of did slow down a lot in that fight. And obviously, you got someone hurt. He was going crazy, so it's a lot of adrenaline dump. But I could see him not being able to pace. He's never been in a 5-round championship fight. Volk's that's all he's been in, like 10 title fights, I believe. So that's 10 5-rounders against the who's who, the best of the best in their prime. You know, out of their prime, he might be a little past his prime, maybe not. This fight we'll find out. This will be the marker to see, is he done? A lot of people think he is done. I don't think he's done. I think he was doing well against Ilya. You know, obviously against Ilya, it's kind of almost like a matter of time before Ilya lands that big shot because he's always kind of searching for it and puts himself in good position to land his big shot. And I think that's kind of what happened with Volk. It was just a matter of time, basically. But we're looking at Ilya is the best right now. Even though he vacated his title, moved up to 55, he is the best at featherweight. So it's like there's no shame in that. And Ilya's knocked out Max as well. So I mean, he's just kind of running through everybody. So I mean, there's no shame in that. And I don't think Diego Lopes is at that level yet. I think he's obviously up and comer. He's a beast. He's definitely dangerous. He'll be dangerous for most of the fight, the entire fight. But I think Volk will be able to pick him apart from the outside, using leg kicks, using his good jabs, and you know his good feints and his distance control and all that to just kind of frustrate Lopes. And I do picture this. I don't think Lopes is going to be that easy to finish. I picture this will be a decision, like a unanimous decision to Volk, like maybe 4-1 or something. He might drop that first round. And I think Volk will just keep getting stronger as this fight goes. And I think Lopes will get more and more tired as this fight goes and slow down. But I also feel that Lopes' best chance obviously would be the first round and a half. That's when he's going to be the most dangerous to catch Volk on the chin and sleep him, which like we said, we've seen Volk get knocked out twice in a row. So ugly knockouts, you know, so I mean, not dead rat style. So I mean, it's definitely possible, but I just don't see Lopes doing that to Volk. And I think Volk is a smarter fighter and he'll know that where the dangers are and he'll be able to avoid that. And I could even see him getting a submission or a ground and pound type finish later, maybe 3rd, 4th round, as Lopes, he's take him into the waters he's never been in, those deep waters, championship rounds. But I do think it's going to be a decision, but I could see Volk getting a finish like 3rd or 4th round, like probably like either a ground and pound TKO. I don't really see him submitting Lopes unless he like really hurts him bad or something, but I don't really see that. It'd probably have to be some type of TKO situation where Lopes just gas the fuck out and done. You know, like just ready to hang it up and, you know, like throwing the towel type thing. So I see a decision. I'm saying unanimous decision, Volkanovski. And once again, featherweight champion, And we'll see what's up next for both these guys after this. Those are my predictions. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, that's all I got.